This is my way of testing out this new shocks on the back. These are the factory shocks still got those in there. And this is my makeshift travel ramp index test. But I got it up there and it's hard to tell, but you can see this tire is just off the ground. And I've already added aftermarket shocks to the front, which, you know, were not even factory replacement. They're completely custom. Those are YXZ shocks. You see, Fox reservoir and everything, and still got a couple inches of squish. But if I had a little more weight in there, obviously, that would force the suspension to compress more, and you get a little more travel out of it. But that's about as far as you can go before you lift the wheel, because it's pretty well balanced there. Got because the back tire is just barely off the ground, and the front tire is just barely off the ground. And the only thing keeping this one from going down anymore is the limiting strap. These shocks have way more travel than the suspension does, but that ain't bad. And I guess we'll throw those Rough Country M1s on the back for the Pioneer 1000 and see if that improves or hurts our suspension travel. We'll throw those things on and we'll give her another test. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Today's project's gonna be the side-by-side again. Do something a little bit more fun than concrete boxes and all that good stuff. But we're gonna throw on a set of the Rough Country M1 Pioneer 1000 shocks. We're gonna put the front shocks on the back. I almost bought the rear ones, but I don't really want the extra load capacity of the heavier springs. I want the softer ride and more travel. I use this for work around the property and stuff, but if I need to really haul anything too bad, I'll get the tractor or the trailer or whatever. But I think this will still be plenty of capacity. What I want though is a better ride on the trail and hopefully some more articulation. Supposedly you gain about 1 inch ground clearance, so we're going to check that. I'll set up a test to check the articulation and see where we're at there, and then hopefully the ride will just be better. The factory shocks right now are, I don't know if you can see, but they're set on the most preload already. And when it's loaded down with the 4 of us and we're riding over some of the whoops, the back end will bottom out and hit the bump stops and the tires rub, and it's just kind of annoying. So I'll put these on, hope that makes a difference. So I'm gonna get this thing jacked up and see about taking one of them old shocks off. I'll put you guys over here. Hopefully you can see what's going on. Got my shop dog helper. She ain't much help unless, you know, getting bit is helpful. We'll jack it up. It's right at 12 1/4 inches to the bottom of the frame there. All right, one out. Let's hope the new ones are that easy to go back in. side-by-side comparison. So, but that's already with some adjustment in it. I think I'm gonna grab the wrenches and back these off as much as possible. Try to make it easier to get in there. Alright, I got one backed all the way down, but in doing so, now the spring is loose and I've pushed down on the shock, but it doesn't want, the rebound is strong enough, keeps pushing it up. So we'll just have to see. If I can get it in there, which they're pretty sharp. Those nuts on the end there, I'm not even really sure what got me, but something got me. So let's see if I can cram this thing in there. Yep, instead of taking it more apart, let's see if I can't come up with the shock compressor real quick instead of having to take more of it apart. If that don't work, I'll yank the bottom A-arm off there and throw it in. Now, found a ratchet strap and got it compressed. That was easy, but now let's see whether or not I can get it in there with, or if the ratchet strap's in the way. I think it may work, but right now it's in the way. One down, one to go. Tighten this thing up before I forget. There we go. I'm not sure whether the rear ones would have fit. Those spanner nuts are really close to that A-arm when at full droop like that. So there might have been some interference issues with the rear ones. because I believe they're a little bigger diameter. But those are in there and look good. I thought about pulling the springs off while I had it apart and paint them white to match the front ones, but I don't have time for that. We're going riding this weekend, so I'm always last minute projects before we go. So getting these thrown on, then I got to start packing the toy hauler and getting everything around and finishing up work so I can get ready to go. Coyotes are out tonight, yipping in the background. Well, it's nice too, they send you 2 sets of wrenches, so I guess if you lose one set or one, you got spares. Let's see if I can do this side without getting cut. This side ought to go twice as fast since I know what I'm doing. But we'll see. That muffler may cause me problems. I know one thing, trying to put those on there at that set height would have been a real bear. So I'd have to come up with some kind of spring compressor, I think even if I'd have took the lower A-arm loose, because then I'd have had to jack the A-arm back up and line up the bolts and with the press tension on it. I don't know. Maybe that's the right way to do it. I don't profess to do it the right way. I just do it a way. As long as it gets it done and nobody dies, it must have been the right way. You gotta be careful with these nuts though. Those edges on those things are sharp. I'm assuming that's what got me there, but I don't know. Let's see what kind of height we got with them bottomed out there. I don't like a lot of lift anyhow. I'd like to keep the center of gravity low. But it'll be nice if it don't bottom out anymore. I might get a little bit, because that's pretty much stock height still, other than the bigger tires. So I think the stock ground clearance is like 10.9 or something like that, from the Honda specs. 12 1/4 is about right with 28-inch tires versus 25s. I don't know why I tightened that up. Wait. I should have. I'm gonna wait. There we go. Wait and see what it does. See if I need to adjust them before I tighten them any. Yeah, there goes the spring keeper. See if I can remember which way to put the strap so it's out of the way. I wonder if it'd be easier if I'd put the ratchet at the top. Okay, I think we're going to try that. We'll put the ratchet up here this time, because last time the ratchet was in the way in the bottom, The A-arm's so close. Need just a couple more things to hold on to, and that'll make it a lot easier. For some odd reason, that strap only wants to hook on down there one way. And those coyotes are really going at it tonight. There you go. There we go. You there? Glad I didn't have my finger in there. I've been the first to know about it. Alright guys, sorry about that. Battery died, didn't know it, so I'm not sure what the last thing I was doing, but I got the shocks on, and I guess I didn't pay attention. I thought that the bushings were only required for the fronts, but apparently you need them for the back, or at least on the rough country shocks. So I got a bushing here that I've made. It's strange, I'll show you. The old factory shocks are the same width, top and bottom, but the mounts are wider on the top than they are the bottom. The bottom's pretty close, but the top needs about that much of a shim put in it. And I only made it for one side because these shocks are quite a bit bigger around at the base than the factory ones, and trying to scoot them any further back is just not going to work. So I believe this shock over here, a full droop, is already hitting, but it's just hitting the A-arm, but that's as far down as it can go anyhow. So I don't, I'm a little bit concerned that I need a limiting strap or something, but I'll get these put on there and I'll see what happens, and I'll show you what's going on here. If I can get you over here where you can see. You can see, I'm gonna get a light. There you go, you can see there's still some threads, but not too awful much there at the bottom. But at the top, there's quite a bit more. I don't know if you can see that or if you're just getting glare. There you go. Now you can see how much is up there. So I'm not real sure why the mounts are so much wider on the top, but I'm gonna throw that bushing in there, see how that does, and I don't know, I'll probably make one for the bottom too, right while I'm doing it. Alright guys, I got the bushings in there. In there. Let's see, I'll get my light. You guys can't see nothing. Got that one up there. Wasn't too bad. I had some hydraulic tubing laying around that was old. That was just almost the right size as the bushing, so I just had to slice off some pieces and smooth out the inside just a little bit and went right on. I was going to run these clear down, but when I got the springs on at full droop, the spring retainer on top of the shock was still loose, or the spring was still loose. And so the last thing I wanted to do was to hit a bump or jump or something and unload the suspension enough that the keeper shifted and, you know, fell out or got on a weird bind in there or something and bent and stuff. So I cranked them up that much, and that's where I'm going to start it from. So probably about an inch up from the bottom. I had clear down now, and the spring is no longer loose in there. So when you get these on and stuff, it's pretty easy when they're loose to just twist the spring by hand, and that'll run that nut right up. You don't have to try to fight with getting that spanner wrench in there. I just turned the spring and it went right up. So that's where I'm going to start them from. I just got to get the bushings in the other side and adjust it up. Alright, I got this side done now. Got the bushings in, but I'll show you what I meant about the shock, or the spring. See, it's... Oop, hang on guys. I don't know if you can see that without any light in there or not. I don't know how bright this GoPro picks stuff up. And that's even without the way the tire on it, because the other side was a little worse. Because I'll push down on it a little bit to get it to flex a little more, and then we'll see how. Get some light up here on it, and then it's real loose, and that's what I didn't want. So that's why I adjusted it up a little bit. I'm going to adjust this side up too, and see, I'll show you. You got them on there, and the spring seated and everything. You can just turn it by hand, and it'll turn that nut and run it right up where you want it until it starts getting tight anyhow. But you can't turn it by hand, but that's way easier than trying to use that spanner nut or spanner wrench on that nut. Alrighty, I'll get the right height set and throw the other wheel on it and tighten up the nuts, and we can let her down and see what kind of clearance we're running. Alright guys, got the other side on, got some tools. I'm gonna let her down and see what she does. Now you can't measure it from here because the suspension hasn't settled. There we go. Oh my gosh, I can already tell that it's a lot softer but more controlled than it was with the old shocks. That's nice. Get a tape measure and see where we're at. Oh yeah, we picked up about an inch and a half. We're about an inch and a quarter. We was at 12 and a quarter, now we're 13 and a half. Picked up about an inch and a quarter with it clear down, which, like I said, I could screw it on down and it would be about stock height, but He said when the suspension went to full droop, especially this side over here, for some odd reason, had more room in it, and the spring was just sloppy, and the keeper on top of the shock could have come out of the spot. So I tightened it up till it was just, you know, tight at full droop. So you could lower it and probably stay about the same height as stock, but I think I'm going to leave it right there and see how she does. Because that was one of the things I wanted, some more cushion in there before it bottomed out. Because once we loaded it up and went riding over some of the whoops, the thing would compress enough, it'd bottom out and the tires would rub on something. I ain't sure what they hit, because it didn't look like they would compress that far to hit anything, but every time you went over something real fast with the whole group in there, it would rub. So I think I'm going to like these already. I already think I'm going to like them, but I'll get it out, ride it around, and tomorrow when it's light out, we'll go out and test some of the angles. I already tested the stock shocks to see how much flex it had. So we'll see if I gained any or lost any, or if it's just the same. So we'll check that out tomorrow when it's daylight and we can see what we're doing. Till then, we'll catch you tomorrow. Alright guys, here goes nothing. See whether we gained anything or not. Last time the middle of the tire got about right there. I measured that with the level and it was about 21 inches roughly clearance. So, try it now. Like both tires are still on the ground, but just barely, so I'd say it's going to be roughly the same. I think we got just a hair more. So on the middle of the tires, a little bit more up on the board, because I was thinking, it looked to me last time like the middle of the tire was right here, and the middle of the tire is closer to the middle of the board. And the last time, this tire is off the ground. I wouldn't be able to rock it like that, but last time the front tire was also in the air, but it's on the ground, but just barely. There, see, if I rock it just a little bit, it makes it pick it up, but I'd say it's got just a little bit more flex, which that ain't bad. I mean, just a simple shock change. You can see her all stretched out. On this side. And let's see. That is pretty much full compression right there, because that's right up against the bump stop. That's against the top, so that's as much as she's going to give that way. Now I have been thinking, which I'm going to have to wait. I was going to build, I thought about making some new shock mounts and that would bolt on here, but give me, you know, maybe another bolt hole back here, and then maybe another one down here, because the more these lay down, the more articulation you'll have and the softer the ride will be. And I might have to screw a little more preload into them to adjust for that. But the only problem I can see with that though is that the more that shock lays down, the closer this bottom of the shock is going to be to the axle. So I don't know whether or not I'd really have enough room to lay them down anymore, or whether they'll start hitting the axles. So looks like because they're close, I can't even get my finger between the axle and the shock. I can the bottom, but not between the spanner nuts there. So, and I think if they laid over more, plus this side I ain't got that much room to lay it over. I could probably get one additional hole here between the muffler and the regular shock mount. You know, I can bring it over there about an inch maybe. I don't know if that'd be enough to be worthwhile or not, but I'd be willing to try it if I get some time, just to see if the shock would clear the axle, that is. I would do it. I've got all kinds of room on this side, but I got to do them the same. But I think I could get probably one more hole over here, a little closer to the muffler, and I'd give it a little bit more room to this side to compress, which would give me some more articulation. But I don't think the tire will be bottoming out and rubbing on anything, because we're almost against the bump stops and they're still good 1.5 inches, probably right up here is where it was rubbing. I would assume when it would hit, probably hit that right there when we bottomed out. That's the closest thing, but that's still good 1.5 inches clearance in there. So I doubt it'll compress that bump stop that much over a bump. So I'll be interested to see how it rides now. We're going riding this weekend down at Hatfield McCoy's Ivy Branch trails. And that's where it always was the worst, was when we go over those whoop sections there where they grade the trail smooth and then build it up so that the water will run off instead of down the trail. When you go over those, the back would always come down and rub. I don't know, I like it, looks good. All right, I think till we get some more riding in on them to test them out and get an opinion that way, I think we'll call this one done. All right guys, thanks for watching, we'll catch you later. Alright guys, gonna do a wrap-up video, first impressions. We just got back a couple days ago from our trip to Hatfield McCoy, the Ivy Branch, and my first impressions with the Rough Country Pioneer M1 1000, the Pioneer 1000 shocks, they are definitely worth it. It made a huge difference, no more bottoming out, and Hatfield McCoy's is always the worst because their trails are so smooth that we tend to carry a lot more speed, and so going over some of those little dips that they make to shed the water off the trail instead of down the trail, you know, and you go over those, the back end was all the time bottoming out before, and the tires would rub, and it just made a rough ride out of the deal. And it was much better this time. We could go over the back. Never. I felt it bottom out a couple times against the cushions, but it was so much softer that it was hardly even noticeable, and it didn't allow the rear end to collapse enough that the tires rubbed or anything. So it was really good. What are you doing, Shop Dog? But definitely a good improvement, and I would highly recommend them. They're a good shock. As far as longevity goes, I don't know. We'll find out, but definitely worth it for now. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.